Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Mahvish Akhtar with another episode of FemmeIcon. I'm sorry for the delay. I just kept trying to connect back and forth. I don't know. It kept disconnecting me. So we have a very special episode today, and we are joined by a very special guest. We've been trying to get her for a while, and we've been back and forth. We are talking about Nikkahnama's, and we are talking about getting to learn them. Okay, so I see her now. Let me add her and we'll get started with our discussion because we are already. So we will be talking about Nikkahnama's and what they're all about and what we need to know. I did. Hey, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. This is very anticipated, and we've been looking forward to having you on here and talking to you.
Yes, and the topic, as you said, is of extreme significance, and despite it being so important, it's not given that sort of importance due to, legal, but most importantly, social challenges that are there in the Pakistani households. But so happy to be here and to be talking about it. It's something that I always, well, any issue related to women, I always say it's close to my heart. And I've been working in family law litigation for a while now. And in every issue that comes up in courts, be it related to divorce or, maintenance, child support, custody, guardianship matters, or just generally, conditions related to the Nikkahnama itself. ये जो मेन डॉक्यूमेंट है इसके बारे में सबसे कम बात होती है and half the time people think that it's some other statute या कोई other आपका जो है उसमें law के अंदर कोई चीज लिखी है, but it's all literally inside the paper that you yourself signed in front of, let's say, 500 guests, which the names of which you don't even remember or know, So, how do you want me to start? And Mahvish, I don't see you. Your screen is black. So I've been talking to myself on the screen.
I've been having some kind of issue with my internet. I don't want to disconnect because I don't want to. Can you guys see me? Because I don't know if it's my internet or if it's just generally.
I mean, I can see you. Yes, I can hear you very clearly. Perhaps I can ask the audience if they can hear Mahvish. Oh, Mahvish is visible to the audience. Okay, then that is perfect. Then I think I should. Yeah. Oh, amazing. People can see you. Why can't I not see you? Am I blind or what?
That's not. Okay. Maybe we'll wait a little bit and see if you can, see me in a bit.
Okay, yeah, okay. So how do you want me to start, and are there, any questions that you would like to ask me directly, or do you want me to just go through the Nikkahnama document one by one and touch all the provisions?
Well, first I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like what?
Oh, that's my favorite question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm glad that is. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I have been in the legal industry from the last 5 years, and this is my 6th year in the practice. Two main things that I do is, first, I run a law firm, and I represent clients in different matters in courts in Karachi, high courts, district courts, and special courts. Predominantly, my litigation is family laws and domestic violence, but we also do a lot of work on property, inheritance, constitutional human rights, and banking. So it's a diverse legal practice that is based in Karachi. So that is one thing that I do and which I absolutely love as well. The second thing that I do is a passion project called Adal or Sehat, and that also consumes a large part of my life, my soul and my heart and my brain, because the reason I started this project was I think, and it is the case in fact, that law and health both form a very important part of a person's life. And in Pakistan, of course, we have accessibility issues as well because of a lot of connected, intertwined issues of not getting the right amount of, um, not getting the right education, or not being in the right schools, or not law ki padhai is not in itself in the curriculum. A lot of different things we can. That's a different, Pandora's box altogether. So, Adal or Sehat has started off as a legal awareness and health awareness platform, and so far, in an year after it was inaugurated, we did 50 plus recordings with the specialist doctors and legal experts where we tried to educate the masses in Pakistan through our podcast on YouTube on legal rights and health matters. So, छोटी से छोटी चीज hypertension हो गया, blood pressure हो गया, बुखार हो गया, two big cancers, oral cancers हो गए, breast cancer हो गया. We had collaborations with hospitals as well. And then after a year, I decided to do something about the way legal education is imparted. So and at the same time, I thought that while I train law students, I can also, you know, initiate projects with the law students on, let's say, and we started with a policy making and legislative drafting workshop, which was for 3 weeks. And out of a total of 200 people in the country itself, 12 fellows were selected, and they were trained for 3 weeks by experts in policy making and legislative drafting. And they, towards the end, produced suggested amendments to the sexual harassment law that we have in Pakistan. And then these students, we decided to culminate it into a proper legislation and policy clinic. And then we sort of created liaisons with government to ensure that those amendments are implemented. फिर आगे जाके वो amendments हो गई थी, but not through our effort, but these students were monumental in being trained, and then they ventured into doing their own thing. But is tarah se legal education plus social impact projects I've been doing, and then uske baad we started Legal Aid Bureau. So far we have helped 15 women in in family law and domestic violence issues. The ethos is कि हम economically disadvantaged and vulnerable women को free legal aid provide करेंगे. उसी में से एक हमारा project है महफूज, so that was started this year. The Mahfouz actually is like a resource platform for a digital social audience, जो कि हम बता रहे हैं domestic violence के कि क्या होता है, क्या forms होती हैं. We're trying to create awareness, but at the same time we are looking to collaborate with institutions and have include students and especially law students into the conversation itself. So ये महफूज कर रहा है, and then इसके साथ, and I would stop talking. I told you, Mahvish, don't ask me this question because
No, it's totally
that's
fine.
what
This is actually good. Yeah, no.
And then, just another project that we are doing on the health front at Adal or Sehat is called Focus. Focus is trying to expand the mental health narrative in Pakistan, because आपने देखा होगा कि अब थोड़ा सोशल मीडिया की वजह से हमें ये अंदाजा है कि डिप्रेशन क्या होता है, एंजाइटी क्या, लाइक माय मदर नाउ नोज कि अच्छा डिप्रेशन कुछ है, हाउ माय दादी वुड से कि अच्छा ये क्या नया कुछ निकाला है तुम लोगों ने, क्या मर्ज है. So at least now I think through social media they know what depression and anxiety is. I think we still have a long way to go, but I still feel कि थोड़ा सा इसके हवाले से आ गई है बात. But we do not include neurodivergent brains in the conversation. It's mostly about neurotypical brains. मतलब कि कभी कभी एक बच्चे को या एक अडल्ट को ऑटिज्म या ADHD या एनी अदर न्यूरो डाइवर्स सिचुएशन डिसऑर्डर हो सकता है, जो कि वी डोंट काउंट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट डिप्रेशन एंड एंजाइटी. सो आई थिंक के that is what focus is an acronym for fighting obstacles with clarity, um, uh, understanding and support, and we have created a 20-minute workshop on which we are trying to talk about how neurodivergent brains are different from neurotypical and how neurodivergent brains को हमें जनरल कॉन्वर्जेशन के अंदर इंक्लूड करना चाहिए, ताकि हो सकता है कि उनका डिप्रेशन एंजाइटी इज बीइंग एक्सैसरबेटेड बाय डिसऑर्डर्स लाइक लेट्स से ADHD. सो हम लोग वो एक्सपैंड करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. आई थिंक कि इस तरह का कॉन्वर्जेशन बहुत ही, and I'm not a specialist, I'm a lawyer myself, but I've seen people around me suffering from underlying conditions, like they're not underlying conditions. I'm saying that because people do not really take into account कि ये भी एक चीज है apart from, let's say, the depression and anxiety that they're harboring within themselves. तो हम ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम न्यूरो डाइवर्जेंट ब्रेन्स के बारे में बात करना शुरू करें, एंड दैट शुड आल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड इन द नैरेटिव दैट्स गोइंग अराउंड इन पाकिस्तान अराउंड मेंटल हेल्थ. और भी बहुत चीजें हैं. हमारे पास कितना टाइम है? लाइक वी कैन टॉक अबाउट व्हाटएवर. They want to know my favorite movie, you want to know about what I do, what I eat.
Yeah, we can continue that conversation about what you eat and what you have for breakfast every day, and then your midnight snack. But let's do that after we talk about the Nikkahnama and all of that stuff.
Yes.
All right. So somebody asked what your name was. Did we skip that part when we started, or is that person just joining us? So,
इतना लंबा मैंने अपने बारे में बात कर ली. Now, so my name is Khushbakht. I'm a lawyer. And isn't like do they this Instagram live, do they not show who's like the username?
Yeah, I think it does have the poster, but I think they're just joining, or I don't know. They didn't go. You can look at the poster. We have her name like so many times on there because we've been going over this because we have been very excited to have her. All right, so let's start our the conversation that we're here to have. The way we want to go about this is, do you have any kind of copy or anything that I don't know if I'm sure you've seen it, because I haven't looked at mine, and God knows how long. I've been married for this year 27 years, 26 years. So I haven't looked at my Nikkahnama in like God knows how long. But and I don't even know if that Nikkahnama is still the one that's used today. But let's talk us through what it looks like and what each जो उसमें जो भी उसको कहते हैं लीगल टर्म्स ले लें या जो भी टर्म्स हैं, what do they mean, और उनको describe them, walk us through those.
Yes. So, right, I don't have the copy, unfortunately, but I can tell you what it's like, कैसा form होता है उसका. But how about, we can share it on the stories after this sure. Session. And links bhi mere khayal se we can add in the comment. I'll share the PDF. It's also easily available on Google. So, Nikkahnama is a marriage contract between the husband and to-be wife, a man and a woman who are planning to get married. Just like कोई भी contract होता है between two parties, उसमें कुछ terms and conditions लिखी होती हैं जिस पे दोनों parties को agree करना होता है, and then with mutual agreement they both sign it, saying कि this will be then enforceable. अब निकाहनामा सही से अच्छे तरीके से फिल करना, उसकी जो भी प्रोविजंस, उसमें जो भी राइट्स हैं, उसका रीजन ये है कि life can be unpredictable, and relationships are sometimes, especially in the Pakistani society, where the way हम relationships को बहुत कभी कभार insensitively लेके चल रहे होते हैं by not addressing our emotions or regulating it properly. So कभी कभार ऐसा आपका मरहला आ जाता है that they break down, relationship break down, and when the breaking down का आपका point आता है, तब आपका ये contract enforceable होने का वक्त आ जाता है. अब इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें इन्वॉल्व हैं, जैसे कि आप तलाक अगर चाहती हैं, ऐसी ऐसी ब्रेक डाउन अगर आप मैरिज हो रही है, तलाक आप चाहते हो तो उसका क्या मैकेनिज्म है. अगर आपने उसके अंदर एक क्लॉज में डाला हुआ है कि आपको राइट है कि आप उसी तरह से डिवोर्स दे दें जिस तरह हस्बैंड दे सकता है डायरेक्टली, तो आपके लिए बहुत आसानी होगी. लेकिन अगर आपने ये प्रोविजन अपने निकाहनामा में नहीं डाली, तो फिर आपके लिए प्रॉब्लम वही आ जाएगी कि आपने कोर्ट जाके लेना पड़ेगा. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेनी थिंग्स प्रोविजंस जो कि निकाहनामा में है. बट मैं सिर्फ ये इसकी सिग्निफिकेंस एक्सप्लेन कर रही हूँ कि आपको क्यों जरूरी है कि आप इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को अच्छे से पढ़ के, समझ के, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस एग्री करके इसके ऊपर साइन करें, so that if Allah na kare, the relationship breaks down, you still have some rights that you can still go and exercise. So that's the purpose of the Nikkahnama. How it
And
looks
even
basically, it has,
during the marriage,
yes,
when you're signing the Nikkahnama, there are a lot of things during the marriage that you have
yes,
control over. If you
yes,
look through it or say तरीके से उसको आप
yes, yes, absolutely.
visualize it.
There are special conditions, there are conditions in related to maintenance, there are, things like, okay, you have to let me study, you can't stop me from working. So बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो कि ख्वातीन अपनी, obviously during the marriage also those terms and conditions would be at that time would be enforceable. But when I talk about breakdown, it just means कि जो चीज नहीं हुई है उसको आप enforce करवा सकते हो. खैर, हर provision, इसकी हर provision, like 25 provisions हैं, हर provision बहुत ही, every provision has a lot of importance. And I will, when I go through each provision, मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि इसके कितने पहलू हैं, इसमें आप किस तरह से इसको amend कर सकते हो, इसमें add कर सकते हो चीजें. So the Nikkahnama is a document that's come out of the Muslim Family Laws Ordinance. ऐसा ये कानून है जो कि family relations को govern करता है. So as a family law litigator, this is one of the laws that I am using in the litigation with both the spouses. Okay, so the first जो 1, 2, 3, 4 प्रोविजंस हैं, वो बात करती हैं आपका क्या नाम है, ब्राइड का, ग्रूम का क्या नाम है, आपका NIC क्या है, सो आप कहाँ रहते हैं, आपकी रहाइश क्या है. सो 1 से लेकर 4 तक नेम ऑफ द ब्राइड, फादर, रेजिडेंस, ये सारी प्रोविजंस है जो कि जनरल है. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं. दूसरा ये है, नंबर 5 पे वो आपसे पूछते हैं कि वेदर द ब्राइड इज विडो है या डिवोर्स है, उसकी पहले शादी हुई हुई है कि नहीं हुई है, कि उसके बच्चे हैं कि नहीं है. 5th प्रोविजन में वो आपसे इस तरह का, अगर लेट्स से आपका कोई दूसरे आपका निकाह है, तो वो आपको ये डिस्क्लोज करना होता है कि ये क्या है. एंड देन 6th वाला जो प्रोविजन है, इट टॉक्स अबाउट कि ब्राइड की एज क्या है. नाउ पीपल ऑल्सो जिस तरह सारी ओवरलुक करते हैं प्रोविजन से, इस प्रोविजन को भी वो ओवरलुक करते हैं कि ब्राइड की क्या एज है. एंड यू नो हाउ so many underage marriages that are happening. सिंध के अंदर 18 साल से नीचे की उम्र में अगर आप किसी भी लड़की की शादी करवाते हो तो that is illegal, that's a crime. So that again and is something that a lot of Maulanas,
You're cutting
I
off a
shouldn't
little
say
bit.
Maulana. जी?
You're cutting off.
Okay, my internet is just a bit glitchy. I don't know. Am I audible now? Am I audible to the audience? Is my voice okay? Is my voice okay? Is it?
Okay, if your voice is okay for you guys, then that's fine. Continue.
Okay. So एज ऑफ ब्राइड है, उसको भी सब लोग इग्नोर कर रहे होते हैं कि we don't really want to know the way people treat women in this country and how they say कि once she reached puberty, और अब तो ये भी नहीं है, but we hear incidents about how children are just child brides. So again, ये age of the bride भी निकाह, again the law puts it upon the निकाह registrar कि निकाह registrar की जिम्मेदारी है कि सारी provisions को explain करे to the दूल्हा दुल्हन and also ensure कि ये सारे brackets filled हों and legality भी intact हो, especially provision number 6 में. खैर, after that number 7 talks about कि आपने अगर कोई वकील मुकर्रर करवाना है कि नहीं. Now this is a question that a lot of people ask and I would really want in the audience, अगर उनके कोई इसके हवाले से सवाल आते हैं तो just keep in the middle of it, just keep asking me so that I can talk about it in depth. वकील कहते हैं लोग के क्यों.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I wanted to say, just ask your questions. I'm noting them down, and then when we're done, we can go over the questions. If they're not, अगर वो इसमें discussion में cover नहीं होते, तो we'll go over them, and we can touch base with that.
Yeah. So the woman has to appoint a person. It could be any blood relation, not blood relation. I can appoint my friend कि आप मेरे लिए वकील बने क्योंकि आप मेरी राय कंसेंट को आप बताएंगे कि मैंने हाँ बोला है ना बोला है. अच्छा, द वे निकाज रियली हैपन हमारे यहाँ, आपने देखा होगा कि जैसे आई सॉ सम ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स निकाह, वो एक घर में थी, उन्होंने साइन किया निकाहनामा, एंड देन वो जो उनके वकील थे, जो कि उनके वालिद थे, वो जाते हैं मस्जिद में, लड़के के सामने दोस्त का बता रहे हैं कि रजामंदी है. सो हमारे यहाँ मेरे ख्याल से इसलिए वकील को इम्पोर्टेंस इसलिए दी जाती है कि हमारे निकाह थोड़े से अलग, एक साथ बैठ के नहीं हो रहे होते सिग्नेचर्स. द वुमन इज इन सम डिफरेंट हाउस एंड द मैन इज इन द मस्जिद. सो उस लिहाज से दे अपॉइंट वकील के मेरी बात जाके आगे कन्वे हो जाए. सो उस सिचुएशन में सही, लेकिन अगर निकाह आपका आमने सामने बैठ के हो रहा है, देन यू डोंट रियली नेसेसरली नीड अ वकील, बट दिस इज समथिंग दैट्स देयर. नंबर 8 में कहा गया है कि विटनेसेस होने चाहिए ना. विटनेसेस का क्या, somebody asked me in some निकाहनामा पे मैं एडवाइस करी थी कि आपने इसमें क्या ऐड करना चाहिए क्या नहीं. So they said witnesses कौन होने चाहिए और उसकी क्या रेलेवेंस है अगर वो नहीं हो. So I will say as a litigator, whenever I am कोई डिवोर्स प्रोसीडिंग होती है या फिर कोई मेंटेनेंस से रिलेटेड प्रोसीडिंग होती है, आपसे कहते हैं कि आप निकाहनामा अपना सबमिट करें. A lot of women in Pakistan do not have the access to the निकाहनामा. हालांकि निकाह रजिस्ट्रार को इस निकाहनामा की 4 कॉपीज बनवानी होती हैं, 1 to the दुल्हन, दूल्हा, यूनियन काउंसिल एंड द निकाह रजिस्ट्रार. बट डिस्पाइट दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट इन्फोर्स्ड. औरतों को निकाहनामा की कॉपी नहीं होती है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. सो इन लिटिगेशन हमें होता है कि निकाहनामा की एब्सेंस में, वाइल वी कैन ऑल्सो ऑब्वियसली आस्क द यूनियन काउंसिल कि वो हमें दे प्रोवाइडेड दैट द मैरिज इज निकाहनामा इज रजिस्टर्ड देयर. स्टिल हमें कोई ना कोई प्रूफ चाहिए होता है कि in the absence of the निकाहनामा हम किस तरह से कोर्ट के सामने कहें कि वाकई में शादी हुई थी. So what we do is we bring the witnesses who just we attach their affidavits in the draft itself, और वो witnesses then testify कि अच्छा मेरे सामने मैं ये शवाहिद हैं, मैं मेरे सामने जो है इनकी शादी हुई थी. So this is how from a litigation perspective आप बच जाते हैं फ्रॉम दैट द एंटायर हैसल. आपको एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाते हो, अब जबरदस्ती आपको निकाहनामा की कॉपी सबमिट कराने की जरूरत नहीं है. सो फ्रॉम अ लिटिगेशन स्टैंड पॉइंट एंड जस्ट जनरली इट्स फाइन टू हैव विटनेसेस. नंबर 9 में बात होती है कि विटनेस नहीं, सॉरी, नंबर 9 में बात होती, सो नंबर 8 में बात विटनेसेस की होती है. नंबर 9 में दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द वकील. सो yeah, so we have covered that. Yeah, we have covered that. And then on नंबर 12 प्रोविजन में बात हो रही है कि मैरिज की क्या डेट थी. नाउ अगेन ये भी सब बोलेंगे कि बहुत ही नॉर्मल सी बात है या इस तरह की बात है कि you know I shouldn't really reiterate that, but writing the date also is very important because
That's important.
yeah, I mean
Mm.
निकाह की डेट एक होती है और एक आपकी डेट होती है. People just remember more about the rukhsati date, but that is also again very important. So now from 13th is the hak meher, and 14th, 15th, and 16th. अब हक मेहर से रिलेटेड डिफरेंट प्रोविजंस हैं. सो पहले तो हक मेहर इज लाइक, हक मेहर को मैं डिफाइन करूं, इट्स लाइक गिफ्ट टू द वाइफ. एंड उस वाइफ को जो गिफ्ट है इज जस्ट कि शी इज coming, leaving her house and coming to the husband's place, and it's a big deal. So as a way of appreciating that gesture in her wo, तो उसमें जो है they gave her hak meher. Now hak meher किस तरह का हो सकता है? It could be anything from gold to a car to generally cash. ये सब चीजें भी हैं जो कि आप दे सकते हो. So there is no पाबंदी के हक मेहर आपका सिर्फ कैश में होना चाहिए या कितना होना चाहिए या जो भी होना चाहिए. So that is आपने हक मेहर का अमाउंट in section 13 लिखना होता है. ठीक है. And then in section 14 it's asked कि आपका जो हक मेहर है वो मौजुल है या गैर मौजुल है, मतलब कितना हक मेहर मौजुल है गैर मौजुल है. Now that means कि मौजुल मीन्स कि आपने उसी वक्त निकाह के टाइम पे पे कर दिया हो, या सोना है तो आपने दे दिया. मोस्टली पीपल राइट सोना बिकॉज वो उसके बरी के साथ या उसके साथ दे देते हैं. नॉट बरी, लाइक dowry or something like that.
Right.
They give it to the bride sona to get away with the requirement. But let's say if it's cash of 1 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees, that has been given to the bride उसी टाइम पे निकाह के टाइम. But if it's गैर मौजूल, which is deferred, then उसमें भी आपने ये लिखवाना होता है that आपको शादी के किस टाइम पे आपको चाहिए.
Period.
It
Right.
yeah, either they can say कि okay शादी के फौरन बाद आप दे दें as a मुंह दिखाई present, people say, and sometimes after one child, or इस तरह की कोई conditions आप लिख सकते हो. But it is up to you to define when do you want it, but that would be deferred. And then in 15 they ask कि अगर आपने कोई पे कर दिया है हक मेहर, then वो कितना है, then you just have to define कि ये इस तरह से है. Plus in number 16, in column number 16 ये पूछा गया है कि आपने अगर कोई what do you call it, हक मेहर की हक मेहर से रिलेटेड आपने कोई अगर प्रॉपर्टी कोई दी हो, गिफ्ट की हो, या फिर समटाइम्स पीपल से कि आई एम ट्रांसफरिंग दिस फलाना हाउस टू दिस वुमन, तो फिर उसके ट्रांसफर के पेपर्स अगर आपके पास हैं तो आपने उसकी भी ब्रीफ डिस्क्रिप्शन देनी होती है. एंड देन यू आल्सो इज रिक्वायर्ड टू अटैच दैट एज वेल. So there was a litigation in the high courts too with regards to हक मेहर के अंदर किसी ने प्रॉपर्टी लिखवाई थी, एंड वो प्रॉपर्टी जो है उसके कागजात नहीं लगाए थे. सो द जजेस इंटरप्रेटेड के जो निकाहनामा का डॉक्यूमेंट है दैट इटसेल्फ शुड बी considered a transfer document, which is I think a very liberal interpretation of the law, but then again that's the power that this document really holds. So by all means, I think women should go ahead and just write whatever they want to, So 16th में इस तरह से है. And at the same time, जहाँ पे मैं बात कर रही हूँ कि आप अलहदा से एक डॉक्यूमेंट भी लगा सकते हैं, ये भी है कि अगर आपने कोई विद रिगार्ड्स टू मेंटेनेंस, अच्छा मेंटेनेंस की भी आगे प्रोविजंस हैं, बट एनीथिंग एनी मेंटेनेंस का भी अगर कोई डॉक्यूमेंट है क्योंकि आई एम गोना गिव यू इतना अमाउंट एवरी मंथ, देन उसका भी अगर आपने अलग से एक अग्रीमेंट बनाया है, देन उसकी भी ब्रीफ डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड एट द सेम टाइम what you call it, attach the agreement document itself. Now that's not, attaching is not mandatory, but still something that at least I would do in my nikah nikah papers. So ये भी
Right.
आपको एक है liberty that you can do that as well, because the Nikkahnama column itself is asking for it, वो खुद कह रहे हैं in the document itself कि if there is something of that sort, और फिर अगर आप उसको प्रॉपरली पढ़ते हैं तो वो आपके दिमाग में सवाल आता है कि व्हाई इज दिस क्वेश्चन आस्क, हम पहली बार पढ़ते नहीं है तो हम क्या बोलेंगे इस चीज को.
Right.
सो व्हेन यू बट इट्स रिटन इन अ गुड वे कि वो आप खुद क्वेश्चन करते हो कि व्हाई इज इट आस्किंग मी टू क्रिएट अ डॉक्यूमेंट. So I think it's still, we just need to be aware and read it properly. Column 17 is something that I really like और मुझे बहुत ही पसंद है. It just says special conditions, if any. Now special conditions में जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि a lot of times women they want to work after marriage but they're not allowed per se, और लोगों के इस तरह के तौर तरीके होते हैं कि जैसे कि हमारे खानदान में कभी किसी लड़की ने शादी के बाद काम नहीं किया एंड डिफरेंट चीजें होती हैं, बट this could be a condition. Or my sister got married recently and she wrote, which my father was
And
also
also sometimes there are commitments made, words are exchanged, but there's nothing written. कि बाद में people just change their minds कि हाँ वो तो बात थी लेकिन अब तो ये हो गया,
yeah.
अब तो situation बदल गई है, और so it's a good thing to just write it down. It's right in the Nikkah document, so it's hard to it's
Yes,
harder to go back on your word जब वो लिखा हुआ है.
yes, absolutely. बिल्कुल, मतलब
Yeah.
as a lawyer obviously I would want everything to be in writing. That is the weapon that I think I have to get the best relief for my clients, and plus just generally it's a good thing to do. So बिल्कुल. So 17th में special conditions में I was talking about my sister's Nikkahnama, and she wrote के my emotional needs should be taken care of, and now legally that's a very vague thing, but I know where it came from. And my father was saying, okay, that is something that I don't understand. What do you mean
What do
emotional
you
needs?
mean?
But
Right.
but I'm just saying that women, what they can write, whatever. I'm sure वो होते हैं ख़वातीन के, या my sister also उसके दिल से आया होगा कि नहीं मेरी emotional needs में, for that is maybe that is supreme for her in her relationship with her husband. So that's what she wrote. So that's I'm saying कि आप लोग कुछ भी इसमें add कर सकते हो. Now, coming to column 18, which is the delegated right to divorce, and I will, Mahvish, share with you a very interesting litigation that I recently wrapped up before the Union Council in relation to this. So, column 18 कहता है कि एक husband जो है वो अपनी वाइफ को एक राइट डेलीगेट करता है डिवोर्स देने का, जिस तरह से हस्बैंड डिवोर्स देता है. नाउ फॉर दोज ऑफ यू हु डोंट नो, हस्बैंड्स कैन गिव तलाक बाय सेइंग, by give this in writing के okay I'm giving you talaq, and they send a divorce deed. They don't have to go to courts. For women, if they don't have this delegated right, then they just have to go to court to get a khula. तो उनको कोर्ट जाना पड़ता है, and men they just give तलाक whenever they feel like. So इसके अंदर column 18 में one of my cases, it was written कि yes, the talaq has the wife has the right to delegated right to divorce. It's in Arabic it's called talaq tafweez. So उसके इसी प्रोविजन के अंदर ये भी लिखा है कि अगर डेलीगेट किया गया है राइट तो अंडर व्हाट कंडीशंस, व्हिच इज उस कंडीशंस के कॉलम में लिखवाया गया था कि शरई तौर पर हाँ खातून को अलाउड है बट शरई तौर पर इस तरह लिखा था. नाउ द वुमन बिलोंग्स टू द शिया कम्युनिटी एंड द वे दे गेट डिवोर्स्ड इज थ्रू एन इमाम सेइंग आपके सीगे पढ़े जाते हैं उनके उसमें. वो एक अरेबिक टर्म होती है जो कि विटनेसेस के सामने आपने रिपीट करना होता है. So, when the woman exercised the right to delegated divorce under column 18, हमने उसी तरह से divorce deed को prepare किया जिस तरह से एक मर्द करता है, and then she has to divorce herself basically. And ये बात याद रखिएगा, whoever is wanting to इस तरह से कोई आप explore कर रहे हैं option, then the woman is divorcing herself. Because she's not divorcing the husband, she's divorcing herself, she's freeing herself from this nikah ka relationship. And why are we specifically using this terminology is because the husband has delegated his own right. Husband क्या करता है? I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. And when the right is delegated to the woman is saying using उसका राइट लेकर कि मैं अपने आप को उस राइट को एक्सेस करते हुए खुद डिवोर्स करती हूँ. सो द टर्मिनोलॉजी इटसेल्फ टेक्स अ डिफरेंट शेप टू. So that is something that we did. और उसके बाद the husband came before the union council and he said that शरीयत के तरीके से आपने ये नहीं execute किया. And now while this woman, my client, was given the right, it was said on the column 18 कि हाँ, बट जो आगे कंडीशन लिखी थी उसको मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि व्हाट दिस उसका हस्बैंड व्हाट ही मेंट कि जब उसने कहा कि हाँ मैंने दिया है पर ये शरीयतन नहीं हुआ, was that कि the woman has to go to the imam as I explained to you, and then सीगे जिस तरह से वो पढ़ने जाते हैं, then bring that document and then come and then submit it to the court, and only then this column 18 will be realized in its entirety. So ये भी चीजें हैं और इस पे भी डिफरेंट केसेस में इस तरह से होता है कि जब भी आप इसको फिल कर रहे हैं कॉलम 18 को तो ये देखिएगा कि कंडीशंस जो लगा रहे हैं आपको अगर आपके हस्बैंड डेलीगेट कर रहे हैं इस राइट को तो वो जो कंडीशंस लगा रहे हैं जस्ट बी वेरी माइंडफुल ऑफ कि वो किस तरह से प्ले आउट करती हैं. इफ यू राइट अ प्रॉपर यस देन दैट इज द बेस्ट वे ऑफ फिलिंग दिस कॉलम आई वुड से. लेकिन अगर कंडीशंस इस तरह की हैं then just talk to your to be husband and see how you can both of you
and then
come
also
to
right agreement on your own. And then also it's important in these kinds of matters discuss with whoever as a religious leader in your community to see कि आपका क्या उसमें when it practically comes to that. Of course you don't want it to come to that. This is just for most women, हमारे साथ ये होता है कि it's like you said before with your sister, it comes from a place of insecurity where we just want to feel, if worse comes to worse, तो ये होना चाहिए कि okay कैसे होगा, कैसे play out होगा, and am I doing the right thing by जो भी आपका मतलब है, जो भी आपका way of practicing your part of the religion is, उसमें वो सही तरीके से execute हो जाए. क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम ये नहीं होता कि जो भी उसमें लिखा है, जो भी provisions हैं, like you're explaining, and I don't really know the details of it. लेकिन because actually it's interesting that you're mentioning this one because that's exactly what happened in my scenario. Was that this was this because this is important, this topic, so I'll mention it. कि अभी ये जो my husband this is my second marriage. I was married before that, a divorce, but और उसमें यही हुआ कि I wanted to leave and it was a mess कि नहीं तो मैं क्या पता अभी नहीं करो, वो जो चीजें होती हैं वो सब Second time around, of course, it was my own insecurity, and I was, there was no way. I knew him, बहुत सारी, because I was so careful. I was like, जब तक बातचीत नहीं होगी, जब तक हम बैठ के पूरी एक चीज को dissect नहीं करेंगे, I'm not going to say yes. And ज़ाहिर इंसान करके ही करता है, लेकिन जब वो निकाहनामा वाली बात आई, And that's why I'm so stuck on कि everybody should read it, everybody should know what they're getting into. So इसी चीज पे I was like, okay, well, I want this, right to be able to, um, you know, to divorce, or मुझे तलाक कब होता है. तो उस चीज पे फिर ये था कि okay, have a discussion with the people that I trust, with the people in the religious community, to know कि अगर मैं ये execute कभी होता है तो कैसे execute होगा. I mean, this was
Yes.
not ever the plan. And उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा आपको जिसके साथ, the person that you are going to be with, you have to have their understanding in that matter. But yeah, I barely got married because the whole family was like, his side of the family was like, what is this? No. But उसमें फिर ये भी understanding की ज़रूरत है कि जो दूसरी side है, they don't understand कि तुम अभी शादी भी नहीं हुई और तुम मुझसे छोड़ना चाहती हो. But
Yeah.
अगर legally उसको ये मर्द को ये right है तो equal हो गया ना. मर्द भी तो छोड़ना नहीं चाहता है, but he can also do this. But yeah, this is a very tricky thing
Yes.
that you have to manage.
I would say
And
these are all the constraints set by the society, and I think we should definitely talk more about it towards the end of
yeah,
end of this that once I've completed this narrating this
yeah,
document.
yeah.
I think कि यही मुझे इस पे आना ही है क्योंकि there are plenty of rights I can talk about कि आपको right to education है, safety है, life है, different other things, right to marriage, divorce. But then again, the way we are just in the shackles of the society's negative narrations around marriage and relationships, I think कि उससे निकलना would require us like decade long preparation and awareness and education and a lot of it. And a lot of my work is in that area, and I would definitely want to share with it everyone once Abhi members, and just want
Yeah,
to complete this so that
go
everybody
this.
knows
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Go on. Yeah.
so in column 19, we are talking about whether the husband's right of divorce is in any way curtailed. Now, this again is a lot of people in the Islamic, a lot of Islamist scholars say that it is, the woman should not curtail it, and because it is ghair shara'i, and this again, the woman is trying to, in a way, tell the husband that you will have to stay monogamous, and
It's a
but then we
force.
also,
Right.
मतलब आप कर्टेल कर सकते हो कोई आपकी अगर ऐसी कंडीशंस अगर हैं, जैसे कि आई विल गिव यू फ्यू एग्जांपल्स कि इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर मेंटेनेंस नहीं दे रहा, मेंटेनेंस देना उसका क्या कहते हैं फर्ज है, देन इफ ही गिव्स डिवोर्स देन ही उसका वो डिवोर्स वॉइड है क्योंकि उसने अपना खुद का फर्ज पूरा नहीं किया, हेंस ही इज ऑल्सो नॉट लायबल टू गिव द वुमन डिवोर्स. नाउ अगेन इसमें भी बहुत लीगल और इस्लामिक implications है, बट आई एम गिविंग अ वेरी लूज एग्जांपल इन दिस. एट द सेम टाइम कुछ खवातीन इसमें ये भी लिखवाती हैं कि you have to also ensure कि आप मुझे हक महर अपना टाइम पे दे दें, या फिर आप मुझे मेरे नाम पे कोई प्रॉपर्टी या डू समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. अगर आप नहीं करते हो then you again will not have the right to divorce or let's say remarry or something like that. So I think ये भी चीजें हैं, but this is again वही बात ना कि अगर वुमन को राइट मिल रहा है then कुछ मेन के राइट्स भी कर्टेल हो रहे हैं जो कि उनको बहुत ज्यादा बहुत ज्यादा इंटेंसिटी या एक्सटेंट के साथ मिले हुए हैं. सो आई थिंक इट्स अ fairly drafted document that's trying to maintain equity between the partners as well. So column 19 is about that. Column 20 is whether any document was drawn up at the time of marriage relating to meher, maintenance, etc. If so, contents क्या हैं उस चीज के. वही वाली बात जो मैं आपको पहले explain कर रही थी with regards to the provisions on हक meher कि अगर, and that's what I'm saying, the column itself says कि कोई ऐसा आपने डॉक्यूमेंट ड्राफ्ट किया हो, अग्रीमेंट, मतलब एक तो ये अग्रीमेंट है निकाहनामा का, ये भी एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है लीगली इन्फोर्सेबल. at the same time it says कोई और भी contract आप इसका आप बना सकते हो, and ये मुझे लगता है, मैं इसको बहुत encourage भी करती हूँ to new brides and everyone जो कि जा रहे हैं इस relationship में जाना. जैसे कि I think West में there is a concept of prenuptial agreements, and that is something that's drawn up before they take the vows. So मुझे लगता है, and this is my understanding of it, that the column 20 allows you to have a separate agreement as well, जिसमें आप अपनी conditions या कोई और चीज अगर आपने with regards to let's say कि बच्चे अगर होते हैं तो you know simple thing as you will drop them to school and I will take care of their food, and let's say I'm earning this much money, then I'm gonna spend 40% of it on with you know on my parents, and you have to give me let's say 50% of this, you have to distribute the chores in a way. So I think कि आप एक अलग से sort of a prenuptial agreement बना सकते हैं, and that is our column 20 empowers you to do that. If there is any other
No,
document
actually,
that you have drawn up.
exactly. We actually, in our, when new brides or even like couples who not in terms of a legal document, but even couples who are having a lot of, problems, we recommend that, drop just like a document, just a contract between the two of you of things that you want to accomplish and put a date on it. And you're talking about a legal document, which is even better actually. You just have like, okay, if you're रिश्ते की बात हो रही है, साथ बैठे हुए हैं और डिस्कशन हो रही है कि क्या करना है, या मंगनी हो गई है, शादी होने वाली है, whatever, बिल्कुल जैसे आप बात कर रहे हैं कि अच्छा अगर टू इनकम हाउस होल्ड्स हैं तो कैसे उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है, और अगर वही बात के बच्चों की इवन हाउ मेनी किड्स यू वांट टू हैव, अभी जितने होने हैं वो तो सारे नोबडी कैन एक्चुअली कंट्रोल इट, बट एक सेटअप ऑफ ये सब चीजें हिसाब किताब करके राइट इट डाउन सो यू हैव अ डायरेक्शन. बाद में फिर ये नहीं होगा कि that's not what I agreed to. What you want to, वही बात जो पहले भी हो रही थी कि स्टडी में कि well I didn't agree to have you go to school full time or work. Well, I mean circumstances different thing. So have that written down, have everything agreed to, and that's actually a very solid recommendation that we give them. Okay, start from the beginning, do all of that, and if you're not going to do it in the beginning, do it at whatever point you are at in your relationship, because उसमें फिर यही होता है कि everything is clear. Even if it's you that has forgotten, okay, oh, that's right, that's what I discussed. Everything comes back to you and is fresh, and then you can go back, update yourself, update your person कि हमारी progress कहाँ है, हमने ये discuss किया था, अब situation कहाँ change होके कहाँ पहुँच गई है. So I feel like if that is, and we don't know कि ये निकाहनामा में, even I don't know that was an option in the Nikkahnama. If we have that option, I feel like that's one of the most mentally healthy options, stable option that you can ever have.
Yes.
In any relationship, any type of relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you.
So, sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go on.
No, I'm liking your insights, and they're so important and relevant as well. So I'll just बस एक दो और important provisions हैं, and then we'll just head to the questions, and also we'll discuss the societal aspect of it as well कि how society की वजह से हम लोग इन ये rights जानते हुए भी, and I'm sure बहुत सारे लोग अभी सुन भी रहे होंगे, उन्होंने सारे rights note down भी किए होंगे, but when they are sitting in front of the Maulana and their families and their parents, तो उस time पे जो है they might be under pressure कि कैसे लिखूं कि हाँ मुझे तलाक तफवीज का आप राइट दें, so and we all know someone's daughter, some friend of ours, who got into that pressure. So we'll discuss that towards the end, but as ek do all provisions, I'll just speak about them and then. Okay. So column 21 says whether the bridegroom has any existing wife, and if so, whether he has secured the permission of arbitration council under the Muslim Family Laws Ordinance to contract another marriage. So this again is this document itself. अच्छा ये इसमें भी ना social narrative में आपको पहले ये बताऊं कि how जिस तरह हमारा पेट्रियार्कल स्ट्रक्चर है, हम लोग बहुत इस तरह से एक्सप्लेन करते हैं कि नहीं, मर्दों को 4 शादियां अलाउड है, मर्दों को 4 शादियां अलाउड हैं, यू नो हाउ दे take a lot of pride in that in some way or the other. But again, this document is trying as much as it could to curtail this sort of situation, polygamy की situation. ऐसा मतलब पाबंदी तो इस तरह नहीं लगा रहे हैं, but yes, it is presenting itself as a provision, as a document which kind of आपको एक तनबीह के तौर पे कि okay, if there is something that you have done, then you should definitely have that sort of transparency in the relationship with your new wife, let's say. आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारी marriages, and I'm dealing with right now 3 cases जिसमें जो खातून है वो कह रही कि मुझे पता ही नहीं था मेरे हस्बैंड की दूसरी शादी, मैं दूसरी शादी में आई हूँ. And literally yesterday we were discussing, I was in a client meeting, and this woman was telling me how the husband's first wife has children जो कि उसकी उम्र के हैं. And she was like, I'm shocked that my children are older than me, and this is something that was never told to me. Now, this also explains another fact कि बहुत सारे लोग obviously झूठ बोलेंगे कि नहीं मेरी तो नहीं हुई शादी. They will write no in this column, let's say, the men. So it also says कि आपके पास arbitration council, जो यूनियन काउंसिल में एक arbitration council बैठती है, उसका आपके पास एक permission letter है कि नहीं है, कि permission letter कि if you want to do the second marriage, तो आपके पास उसका permission letter हो. So you have to attach that. You can't just say, okay, I've done that, and इस तरह से. You have to be able to produce that sort of evidence as well. But again, कहने को तो ये है, but a lot of people just get away with it. Sometimes they bribe the Nikkah registrar, or sometimes this or that. A lot of things can happen because ये इतना heavily regulated area नहीं है निकाहनामा का, जो कि अब मुझे लगता है it's just catching some sort of momentum के इसके बारे में बात की जा रही है. And I'll also discuss some of the projects that I'm seeing happening in Punjab, in Sindh, जो कि marriage rights के related आगाही कर रहे हैं, फैला रहे हैं. Then column 22 says number and date of the communication conveying to the bridegroom the permission of the arbitration council to contract another marriage. So again they're specifying कि date of communication क्या थी, document क्या था. Just putting this person on the spot कि okay, now tell us it. Imagine अगर आप इसको properly पढ़ रहे हैं दोनों parties साथ में, तो imagine the kind of conversation that will generate. But ऐसा नहीं होता, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होता. And then column 24 is about date of registration of marriage. Now again, आपने अगर याद हो, हमने पीछे column number 6 में पढ़ा था age, and then 7 में हमने पढ़ा था कि date of the nikah happening. 24 column कहता है date of registration of marriage. Now those are 2 different things, and again I'll dive into the legal aspect. जो हम कह रहे हैं ना कि मैं as a woman I will have this right and मैं इसको exercise कर सकती हूँ, वो right मैं तब तक exercise करूँगी अगर ये document जाके मैंने register नहीं किया है निकाह registrar के निकाह register के अंदर, and with the union council's portal, if it's not updated. I need to have a marriage certificate for me to verify कि okay my marriage is registered. Otherwise ये आपका बहुत मुश्किल क्या, वैसे तो होगा नहीं इनफोर्स. आप ये नहीं बोल सकते कि मुझे ये प्रॉपर्टी उसने मुझे मेरे नाम करनी थी, तो उसने नहीं की, उसने मुझे हक महर नहीं दिया. सो द मैरिज, if it's not registered, I'm sure शरई तौर पे हुई भी होगी मैरिज, but legally not valid, legally not registered, तो फिर आपका कोई फायदा नहीं है. सो मेक श्योर, इंश्योर करें कि आपके पास कॉपी भी हो निकाहनामा की, आप इंश्योर करें कि रजिस्ट्रेशन कब हो रही है. एंड देन उसके बाद जो है सिग्नेचर्स हैं विटनेसेस के, वकील के, फीस है, और दैट्स इट. इट जस्ट एंड्स हियर.
Okay, interesting. There's a lot of, I'm sure, the audience got a lot out of it, and this is a very important document for every woman, whether it's yourself or your, people women your kids later on, even for men to know, like even if you are somebody who is looking to get married, a man who wants a wife, or has, again, have daughters or sisters or cousins, it's important to know this. It's important to have this information to be able to protect the people you love, just in general. Protect yourself, protect the people you love. And yeah, so
Yes.
let's go to the questions. क्योंकि अक्सर
Yeah.
ये होता है ना कि we're looking at it as we're women और हमारे पास ये knowledge होनी चाहिए, information होनी चाहिए. But and I know कि इसके लिए तो a lot of men were also wanted to know or पूछ भी रहे थे बार बार कि when this is happening. And I was happy really that we have men in our community who were interested in knowing this. And
Yes.
whatever the reason was, I wanted this to be clear. Okay, also don't just know this for yourself. Know this for the women that you know, for the women that you care about, because you want to be able to protect them, at some point. So protection सिर्फ ये नहीं होती कि make sure that they're generally physically safe. You have to take care of them in these ways as well. So पहले जो question आया था, it was something about, let me go back to the exact question. She had asked कि जो यहाँ का निकाहनामा है पाकिस्तान का, the enforceability of the Pakistani Nikkahnama in other countries, as in UK, specifically UK.
So yes, once I was advising a client who got married here in Pakistan. Nikkahnama was Pakistani, but then they wanted to enforce those provisions in another jurisdiction. So in terms of just आपका जो contract का value है, वो I think if you can prove in the British jurisdiction as well, let's say. अगर आपका I'm not a British law expert, so I think you will have to obviously go to a family lawyer that practices in Britain law. But just generally contract principles, I think you can, because at the end of the day, it's between two parties. It would be a difficult thing that is, मतलब it would be very difficult for you to enforce it. जैसे कि some of my clients, they are from Canada, Australia, so उनका निकाह यहाँ पे registered है, so they can't file for divorce in Australia because there is a case law which says कि if divorce proceedings have to happen, then जहाँ पे आपका निकाह registered है वहाँ पे आप जो है उसको execute करेंगे. So this is the women have made attorneys, उनके family members जो यहाँ पे रह रहे हैं उनको attorney, power of attorney देते हो, and then they file khula on behalf of them. Now they don't really necessarily have to come from Australia or Canada or UK to Pakistan. So this is one way how अगर आपको अपना निकाहनामा enforce करवाना है, this is one way. If you have to hire a lawyer who can execute these documents for you, and you don't necessarily have to come all the way from outside, from foreign jurisdiction to here. So I think, और हमारे laws and generally मैं आपको courts का माहौल अगर बताऊं कि the family courts especially, they do favor the woman a lot, and in a way कि हमारा जो कानून है वो strictly जो है general civil procedure को से comply नहीं करता. And the reason for that is that the legislative intent behind the law is कि family का हर family का structure and situation different है based on their socio-economic, cultural, religious background. So every situation has to be dealt with in a very subjective way, and that's the reason why the family laws in courts, especially here, do not strictly adhere to strict rules कि नहीं law में लिखा है कि आपने इसको 50,000 देने तो आपने 50,000 देने इस खातून को नहीं. You have, they assess the situation of the husband, they assess the situation of the wife, then they come to an agreement of that sort. So this is the reality of the courts here, and if women who are outside, उनका निकाह यहाँ पे हुआ है, then most definitely I think you should get those things implemented from here. Time लगता है यहाँ के courts में, बहुत गंद कचरा भी होता है, but I would just say कि that is still the women compliant laws हमारे यहाँ हैं पाकिस्तान में. So that would be my solution. But do look at the British law. You know, I think you should contact a lawyer that practices there.
Who knows the laws there? Okay. So somebody asked you, what is the difference between a witness and a lawyer? Because you talked about getting women having their own lawyer when it comes to when about to get married, and then
Yeah.
witnesses का तो है कि गवाह होने चाहिए निकाह के वक्त. So what would be the difference between that?
वेल एक तो लड़की की तरफ से वकील होता है, लड़के की तरफ से वकील होता है. सो आई थिंक द वकील इज एन अटर्नी एंड इट इज जैसे एज अ लॉयर माई सेल्फ आई कॉल्ड एन एडवोकेट ऑफ द हाई कोर्ट. सो आई एम एडवोकेटिंग फॉर द राइट्स ऑफ माई क्लाइंट. ठीक है. सो ये एक चीज है जो कि मैं ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ माई क्लाइंट रिप्रेजेंटिंग देम इन कोर्ट्स. तो उसी तरह निकाहनामा के अंदर भी जो वकील है उसका भी यही काम है कि जो ब्राइड है या जो भी ग्रूम है उसका जो है आपने जो भी उसको रिप्रेजेंट करना है आपने कि वो उस निकाह से अग्री करती है कि नहीं करती. सो इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. यू मे और यू मे नॉट वांट. अगर आप इस प्रोविजन को भी देखें तो उसमें लिखा है कि इफ वेदर द ब्राइड हैज अपॉइंटेड any vakil, if any का लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किया, which under the law gives some sort of leeway कि आप कर भी सकते हैं नहीं भी कर सकते हैं. वो कोई कंपलसरी चीज नहीं है वकील रखना. that's something that everybody should know. However, witnesses रखना, I think लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट जनरली जो भी मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ड्राफ्ट करती हूँ एंड दैट्स आल्सो अ रिक्वायरमेंट इन द एविडेंस लॉ एज वेल कि यू नीड टू हैव विटनेसेस जो कि साइन कर रहे होंगे आपका दो पार्टीज के दरमियान एक अग्रीमेंट को. सो आई थिंक दैट्स अ लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट, दैट्स समथिंग यू शुड कंप्लाई विद. विटनेसेस वो लोग हो सकते हैं जो बस ये कह सके कोर्ट में जाके कल को कि हाँ भाई इसकी और उसकी शादी हुई थी, इस आदमी की इस औरत के साथ शादी हुई थी.
Also in Nikkah, it's also Islamic requirement to have witnesses. Gawah requirement hota hai Nikkah mein. So that would be also one of the differences, other than the what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So lawyers would be something, attorney and lawyer would be something that a person would choose to have, and witness is something that legally and Islamically you would have to have in the situation of particularly Nikkah. I mean, all documents be, but speaking of Nikkah, it would be something that you would have.
I just मैंने वो बस उसको connect किया. Yeah. Because under the law, I think it's very important and it's a compulsory condition here as well. So.
Yeah. So okay. So somebody also had asked you, what about the when you जब खुला होती है तो जो gift जो एक तो वो है जो आपकी महर होता है, उसके अलावा जो और आपको बड़ी मिलती है, gifts मिलते हैं, what about that? Do you have to return that or?
So I'll tell you, बहुत अच्छा सवाल है. There is one thing called the gift and one thing called haq meher. अगर and that is why again when we were talking कि आपने अगर कोई अलग से डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया है और अगर आपको कोई हक मेहर दिया गया है या आपको कोई मेंटेनेंस का एग्रीमेंट दिया हुआ है, उसका यही रीजन है कि कल को अगर you know the marriage breaks down and the woman is going to take खुला, तो फिर अगर लेट्स से उसने एक्सेप्ट किया हुआ है हक मेहर, उसको शादी के टाइम पे मिल गया था, तो खुला के टाइम पे वो ये कहे, उसको गिव अप करना पड़ता है अपना हक मेहर. खुला की रिक्वायरमेंट ये है. नाउ इन पंजाब इट इज सेड कि 50% से 70% आपने अपना हक मेहर गिव अप करना होता है अगर आप खुद खुला लेती हैं जाके. इन सिंध अपेरेंटली यू हैव टू गिव अप द एंटायर थिंग. डिपेंड करता है कि आपकी शादी आप रुखसती के बाद गई या आप निकाह के बाद गई, अगर आपकी शादी कॉन्सुमेट हुई है कि नहीं हुई है. सो डिफरेंट कंडीशंस भी इस चीज से अटैच होती हैं, डिपेंड जो कि जिसके ऊपर आपका डिसीजन, कोर्ट का डिसीजन कंटिंजेंट है वेदर यू शुड बी पेइंग, यू शुड गिव अप द हक मेहर या फिर आपको वापस चाहिए या इस तरह का कुछ. सो आई एम सेइंग कि अगर खातून ने एक्सेप्ट किया हुआ है हक मेहर, देन शी विल हैव टू रिटर्न. अगर उसने एक्सेप्ट एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया हुआ, then it would be nice if there is some sort of agreement which says कि मेरे पास नहीं है. मैं ये इसलिए कह रही हूँ क्योंकि what happens is sometimes the opposite side, which is the husband side, they try to create some sort of difficulties for women by saying that now she has taken khula, so they would file counter proceedings saying that she has to return her haq mehr, which is like 5 लाख मैंने इसको दिए थे. अब पूरा टाइम जो है ना खातून उस चीज में अंदर वो हो जाती है, लिटिगेशन में फंस जाती है जिसमें एविडेंस चल रहा होता है. खातून कहती है मैंने नहीं एक्सेप्ट किया हक मेहर, तो मैं वापस क्या करूं. मर्द कहता है नहीं मैं इसको दे चुका हूं. सो इट्स अगेन अ लाई एंड अ ट्रूथ अगेंस्ट ईच अदर, वो लिटिगेशन लंबी हो रही होती है. That is the reason, Mahvish, and again I'll stress whoever is listening, that is the reason when the Nikkahnama itself is suggesting there needs to be an agreement drawn up, then I think you should have that in place so that ultimately आप litigation के इस चक्कर में नहीं फंसे. क्योंकि already I think taking a khula, going to court itself is a very emotionally draining process for women. So then अगर counter cases आपके ऊपर इस तरह से file हो रहे हैं, that will give you some more stress. That's why you should have some sort of agreement in place. That is one thing. एक और चीज ये अच्छा in most of my litigation in regards to जिसमें खुला हुआ है उसमें बहुत उसमें आप हक महर वापस भी नहीं लेते हैं. मतलब एंड अगेन यहाँ पे आती है अवेयरनेस ऑफ द लॉ. मर्दों को कितनी अवेयरनेस है. So men also really don't know कि if the woman goes to take khula, she has to give up the haq meher, right? तो वो चीज नहीं पता हुई तो हम भी थोड़ा सा जो है वो like, well, you didn't know about it, I know about it. So I think that's again, what I'm saying is I'm just reinforcing the fact that both women especially, but men also need to be aware of what this document stands for. And these are the reasons. And sometimes I'm just telling my clients, okay, this is a good thing that he doesn't know what he signed. So that's one thing. जहाँ तक गिफ्ट्स की बात है तो गिफ्ट्स जो हैं स्पेशली ज्वेलरी, that under the law is considered the property of the woman. फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि हस्बैंड ने आपको दी, हस्बैंड की फैमिली ने दी आपको. कुछ लोग बहुत ज्यादा जेवर ज्वेलरी वगैरह देते हैं, बट एट द टाइम ऑफ द मैरिज दे आर गिविंग इट एज जस्ट एज अ गिफ्ट, राइट? क्योंकि एंड सम ऑफ देम जस्ट शो ऑफ करने के लिए बहुत सारी फैमिलीज देती हैं कि अच्छा वी आर गिविंग दिस मच ऑफ सोना, दिस मच ऑफ, इवन आपको गाड़ी भी गिफ्ट की हो, प्रॉपर्टी भी गिफ्ट की हो, if all of these are gifts then they are yours. So हक मेहर और डाउरी और गिफ्ट्स, ये तीनों अलग अलग कैटेगरीज हैं. और हक मेहर आपको खुला के टाइम गिव अप करना होता है. अगर आप डेलीगेटेड राइट टू डिवोर्स कॉलम 18 में इस्तेमाल करती हैं तो आपको गिव अप करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है हक मेहर. अगर आपने पे किया हुआ है हक में, आपको पेड है हक मेहर, देन you will have to return it unless अगर आप उससे बोलें, otherwise they don't know, so don't give it back. दूसरा आ जाता है गिफ्ट्स. अगर आपको हक मेहर के कॉलम में नहीं लिखा हुआ कि ये गाड़ी एज अ गिफ्ट है, हक मेहर के कॉलम में गाड़ी नहीं लिखी हुई, देन दैट शुड बी अ गिफ्ट. सो कीप इट. एंड द थर्ड थिंग इज डाउरी. डाउरी इज समथिंग दैट रिमेन्स अ वुमन्स प्रॉपर्टी, एंड इफ इट्स इन द, अगर हस्बैंड के घर के अंदर है वो चीजें पड़ी हुई हैं, शी कैन ऑलवेज क्लेम देम बैक. दैट इज द वुमन्स प्रॉपर्टी एज वेल. But dowry अलग है, gifts अलग है. So yeah. Then I can talk about the litigation aspect of it as well, कि किस तरह से खवातीन जब घर छोड़ के जाती हैं, then she has क्या कहते हैं, cupboards, bed sheets, sometimes jewelry also, all of these things, fridge लेके आती, TV, all of it is kept in the husband's home, and then the husbands, they refuse to give back the property, saying कि ये तुम खुद घर छोड़ के गई, you are नाफरमान and disobedient, and you will not be
Right.
able to get it. But under the law, you can reclaim all of it. But then that is a lengthy process. But still, you can always ask for recovery of your dower articles. So that's again something.
Oh, okay. So
But
everything
diamond हो
that
या
was given
jewelry हो, gift हो, वो अपने पास रखो,
well,
सब
obviously,
अपने
yeah.
पास रखो.
But even the dowry items, uh, the women can claim it. Or claim the.
नहीं,
Can you not hear me?
claim मतलब yeah, they can
So जैसे आपने
claim.
you just said, yeah, मतलब they can lengthy process है लेकिन
क्लेम इट.
they
हाँ,
can.
बस ये होता है कि जब एविडेंस चलता है ना, केस के स्टेजेस होते हैं, जब एविडेंस चलता है तो फिर उसमें हस्बैंड्स कहते हैं कि ये इसका सामान नहीं है, वो खातून कहती है कि ये रिसीट्स हैं, ये चीजें हैं, ये मैंने वी समटाइम्स अटैच फोटोज ऑफ द वेडिंग. कुछ लोग तो डाउरी की पिक्चर्स लेके नुमाइश करते हैं,
अच्छा,
सो वी टेक देम एज पार्ट ऑफ
लंबा
द
होता है
एविडेंस
वो
एज वेल.
प्रोसेस बहुत.
So बहुत बहुत दफा तो they damage the entire property. They damage it. They ruin the cupboards. They ruin the beds. They do a lot of bad things, like shitty things, I would say, happen in courtrooms, which show a lot about the human behavior itself as well. मैंने जितना अपनी society को understand किया है by all the litigation process, in this litigation process, I think it just amazes me.
Yeah, it is. These are complicated. If when you're, I'm sure you understand this more than most. When you're going through these kinds of processes, when you're actually watching people go through this, you understand actual, I shouldn't say human nature, but the worst of human nature. Worst of
Yeah.
humanity is. इसी तरह पता चलती है कि when you've been with somebody, you've lived with them, time spend करने के बाद भी you don't have any kind of compassion for that person. कि छोड़ दो, ठीक है, I'm gonna leave them, I'm gonna be away from them, लेकिन चीजें हैं, stuff, it's just it's just let it go, and you don't have even that much of compassion for another human being. But so what are the, like you said, you've seen this, okay, so you've been doing this for a while, and you've seen how these relationships are built, and then when they break, they break. What are the key things that you've noticed कि जो शुरू होता है relationship बनता है, and फिर what are the things that do you
I mean,
understand the question? What are the things that come to?
Are you asking for relationship advice?
No, I'm so like at that point where it's like, what, just stay in your corner. I'm gonna be in my corner. It works. But yeah, what?
But it's a good question, and I will say, as a family law litigator, I have learned a lot about relationships, and the reason people stay together, the reason people split, the reason why they fight so much, and also, as you said, people at their worst and people at their extremely good sides as well. Some people are really good, and they give me a lot of hope in humanity, you can say, or just let's say relationships. So I would say that, and a lot of other lawyers would agree to this as well, कि it's जब litigation शुरू होती है, it's a lot to do with the ego. And people then are like, and that all comes from your upbringing and your stature, your standing in the society, what you've learned and everything. So most of the time from men's side, I think it's just the the realization or understanding ke how can she even exercise her right like this, like how can she leave me like this. Now for these men, and it's a theory that I've come up with, I've studied on it as well, it's not really related to law per se, but it's something to do with human behavior. It's these men are in their unhealthy masculine. Now what I mean by that is ke let's talk about healthy masculine first. So healthy masculine is a man who provides, a man who leads, a man who knows his presence in the society, a man who takes charge, a man who lets the woman be in her complete healthy feminine as well. For a woman to be a healthy feminine, जैसे कि to be loving, nurturing, supportive, and just generally, an empathetic person. The man has to take charge in situations and be able to take decisions in the household, which are for the betterment of the family. The man has to foresee कि family life अगर बेहतर होनी है, then he has to mend his ways in a way that he gives the woman that sort of comfort. तो I think कि ये चीजें हमारी सोसाइटी में इस तरीके से बिठा के सिखाया नहीं जाता है. It's something that I got to know.
Right.
Yeah. So, when men get violent, they are exercising they're in the unhealthy masculine. They are not, they are frustrated by something or the other. For example, and also the society puts a lot of pressure on men as well, which then society puts pressure. These men are also not given the tools to address the pressure. हमारे यहाँ बात नहीं की जाती इमोशनली, आप रेगुलेट कैसे करते हो, आप किस तरह से, अगर मैं ये कह भी रही हूँ ना कि they're in the unhealthy masculine, they need to be more supportive towards women. I am not telling them how to be supportive, right? I'm just telling them, dictating कि okay, you should be supportive because that's your role. But I think ये conversations obviously आपके upbringing से start होती हैं. Your parents have to do that, right? And I have seen parents meddling in the relationships of the spouses, and sometimes not meddling, but the awareness of how to have and create a healthy relationship. वो कॉन्वर्जेशंस हमारे फैमिली स्ट्रक्चर में, हमारी जनरली एजुकेशन लेवल पे मिसिंग है. तो मैंने ये चीजें बहुत नोटिस की हैं कि इफ अ पर्सन इज नाउ, आई सी अ मैन हुज वायलेंट, एंड देन आई सी अ मैन हुज पर्सनालिटी इज वेरी विथड्रॉन, मतलब कि वो घर का खर्चा नहीं दे रहा है, एंड दिस पर्सन, एंड वन ऑफ माय क्लाइंट्स हस्बैंड इज अ PhD पर्सन, बट ही इज सो इतना प्रेशर उसने अपनी सोसाइटी में रह के लिया that now he is unable to perform properly at the workplace to earn enough money to provide in the family. This is also an example of unhealthy masculine, and the man is a provider और वो provide नहीं कर रहा. जब वो उस unhealthy structure में आ जाता है, then the woman does not know what to do with that. Because वो woman को भी space नहीं दे रहा to be her true self. So I think that's when the relationship gets sour. But ये सब चीजें आपको अब कौन explain करेगा? या तो मैं बैठ के इस तरह TED talk दूं क्योंकि मर्दों का ये मसाइल है, औरतों का ये मसाइल है. But then I also feel कि and I feel sad also saying that कि people need to start having these conversations, and जहां पर मर्दों के ऊपर पैसा कमा के देने का प्रेशर है, उस तरह से औरतों के ऊपर तो फिर बहुत ज्यादा ही प्रेशर है. There needs to be a harmony from both ends. That is something that I witness, and I'm like, sometimes I see they बहुत ही stupid बात पे अपनी शादी तोड़ रहे हैं, and sometimes I see women are, कुछ ख्वातीन हैं greedy हैं, कुछ मर्द जो हैं बहुत submissive हुए हैं, कुछ जो है, but कुछ है, but majority of the women are again, also subjugated, and at the, bearing the brunt of a husband's, let's say, unhealthy masculine. So I think ये एजुकेशन लेवल का, अवेयरनेस लेवल का, जैसे मुझे अगर मैंने भी अपने आप को इस चीज में एजुकेट किया. आई मीन आई हैव आई गो ऑन यूट्यूब, आई लिसन टू सम ऑफ द लेक्चर्स, आई सी व्हाई पीपल रिएक्ट दिस वे. आई एम वेरी इंटरेस्टेड इन ह्यूमन बिहेवियर, तो एंड माय प्रोफेशन इटसेल्फ गिव्स मी एक्सपोजर टू दैट एज वेल. तो ये मैंने खुद को खुद समझाया, फिर जाके मेरे लिए आसानी हुई टू नॉट जज पीपल रेडिली कि अच्छा अगर ये आदमी वायलेंट है ये तो खराब आदमी है, देन आई एम लाइक नो, देयर माइट बी सम सॉल्यूशन टू हिज प्रॉब्लम एज वेल. आई एम नॉट जस्टिफाइंग, I'm not justifying any of it. Lekin I'm saying that the society cannot just simply shun this man. They need to know that there's a reason why he's acting this way, and that reason has to be, that reason जो कि problem है has to be solved, and that will take a बहुत लंबा time इसमें लगेगा, but the conversations need to start, and we need to obviously see humans as humans, not like commodities कि अच्छा लड़की है, लड़की खाना बना सकती है, लड़की के अच्छा खानदान से है, लड़की ये है. Nobody talks about if she's a good human, if she is an empathetic person, if she's qualified. मर्दों के बारे में क्या, अगर अच्छी इनकम है, अच्छा घर है, एक गाड़ी है, and then we reduce the entire process of two people coming together to, let's say, just a commodified relationship. I mean, कैसी बात है? आप एक ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस को, टू सोल्स कमिंग टुगेदर, आप उसको कह रहे हो अच्छा घर, अच्छी नौकरी, अच्छा ये और क्या ये चीजें, ये कोई चीजें आप ये बताएं ना कि कंपैटिबिलिटी कैसे है, आपकी राय क्या है इन रिलेशन टू के बच्चों को किस तरह से आपने रेज करना है, कि आपने पेरेंट्स का किस तरह से ख्याल रखना है, या पेरेंट्स की लेट्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट कितनी घर में हो. आई मीन these are all healthy communications that can only happen with two very healed human beings. एक खातून जो कि properly healed हो, या कोशिश कर रही हो अपनी heal करने की, and to be in a healthy feminine, and then there's a man who's willing to also make space for the woman and also heal himself of जितने भी biases हमने society में रह के रहे हैं. I think अनलर्निंग का प्रोसेस आपने शुरू करना चाहिए. मैंने आई ऑल्सो कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी कंजर्वेटिव सिंधी फैमिली, एंड मैंने पूरी, मुझे लगता है the entire time I've just tried to unlearn a lot of biases that I had about, let's say, men, about relationships, about people, whatever. And I am very deeply spiritual as well, and I how the Quran and the teachings of Allah Mia and our Prophet always also say कि you need to keep questioning. आपने सवाल करना है कि आप अपनी surrounding में हो, why are people behaving like this, and you have a certain duty towards each other, and keep questioning, keep unlearning, then learn, and impart that knowledge as well. So yeah, that थोड़ा लंबा हो गया, but
No, it's fine. This
you
is
asked.
important. So,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I asked you a very heavy question, so the answer has to be. She's saying, Coach, I don't want to mess up your name. That's so true. We take decisions on the basis of how we are feeling in the moment, and this is a very important point, how we're feeling in the moment. So we all should learn how to regulate ourselves emotionally and communicating respectfully. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a very important point. And when you were talking about, coming together and the marriage process in our country, another thing that's important to, of course, compatibility and all of that. What we do is कि जब हम दो लोग हैं, उनका रिश्ता हो रहा है, उनके रिश्ते की बात हो रही है, when they give their own input, कि नहीं मुझे ये चीज़ की समझ नहीं आ रही, our response is usually तुम्हें क्या पता, तुम तो अभी बच्चे हो, तुम्हें जिंदगी का क्या पता. It's like this is the person, whether little or not, or young or old, this is the person who's going to be living with this other person. So
Yes.
maybe let them figure it out, whether it's the wrong or the right, in your opinion, in the adult's opinion, or in whoever else is helping them. This is going to be their journey, right? They have to understand it अपने तरीके से, अपनी मर्जी से. And the guidance that we should be giving these young people, or at whatever age, because I think older people would still be, एक एज के साथ maturity आ जाती है, कि the baggage that, and this is what I feel like one of the, like I was asking this question, one of the things that is extremely important when two people, जब आप किसी के साथ भी, getting together with anybody, कि जो दूसरे बंदे का baggage है ना, before you decide that you want to be with this person, understand their baggage. That's not going anywhere, right? I mean, You have your own healing to do. You have your own process. That person is
Yes.
bringing their baggage.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them to start working on it, but they're bringing their baggage into your life no matter what. So be ready for it.
Yes.
Don't have them
Yes.
come into your life and then say things like, oh, well, you are doing this, and your mother and your sister, they're going to be there. All of them are going to be there. Their dad, their brother, whoever is a problem, create your boundaries, but they're there. You know, you
Yeah.
can keep a distance. That other person will not be able to keep a distance. Or
Yes.
whatever else, their childhood trauma or their, workload or their,
Yes.
issues. And that's what we do. We want them अकेले आ जाएं, but वो सब कुछ जो उनका childhood है, जो उनकी adulthood है, जो उनके आसपास के जो चीजें हैं, why do you let it bother you so much? Why is this such a problem? That's life. If you knew
Yes.
them
And I was,
beforehand, जो कि वो भी प्रॉब्लम होता है ना कि हम लर्न नहीं करने देते एक दूसरे के बारे में
yes.
शादी से पहले, उस वजह से भी प्रॉब्लम होता है. But if you get the opportunity, learn about your significant other's baggage, because
Yes. And
बाद में
Mavish, the best way to do that is ask them about their childhood.
exactly start there and talk to them
And
about it. Or
you will be surprised to know what kind of baggage they have, what kind of parents they had, were they strict parents, were they nice loving parents, that what kind of school were they in, उनके friends कौन थे, and then growing up, what kind of activities that person was participating in. That because जब तक आप बड़े होते हो आप उन्हीं values को आगे लेके जाते हो. And this is not me saying, this is a relationship expert. I follow this woman who's also a psychologist. She says that, and कि आप just ask people about their childhood.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Yeah, and that these are really important conversations, and that's the biggest issue, that we are scared to get into conversations, especially the way men are raised in a society. They don't get into conversations, and it's really interesting that with my husband, everybody talks about how he doesn't want to, he just cannot sit still and talk. My kids will tell me something, and I'm like, what? Abu told you that? It's like, yeah, Abu said when he was little, he used to do this with his dad, and he used to do this with his mom or his sister, and I'll be like, "Bhai, you did that with your dad?" It's like, huh? And I knew his dad, and I mean, he's passed away since. I'm like, dude, you never told me. He's like, I don't know. Did I tell you? Didn't we? I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, what? And he'll talk to his, our kids now, because they're talking about what they ask him questions and it comes up. And I'm like, I've known you since before we got married. I've known you since we were kids, and this never came up. And now you're, so it's just one of those things where it's, no, we don't. And same with me. It's not just him. Same with me. Us as a family, we're talking about something, and there will be him and other people sitting there, and they're just like, wait, you guys did that as children? And it's like him and his brother and his, family, they're just looking at us like, that never came up. We never talked, so you've known us our entire lives, and this has never come up, and we've never discussed this, as,
Yeah.
because the childhood just passes, and you never, nobody asks, and you never think to tell them, ये हमारा process था, हम ये करते थे childhood में. So this might be something that might impact our relationship or impact how I want to raise my kids. Not हमारे align करती हैं main things that we want to do with our kids, but generally, psychologically, I might just be overprotective or be इस मामले में I might do this, or इसमें, and same with him. So, like you said, it just becomes important. Big respect for advocating Shah Abbas. Sorry. I'm sorry, my eyes are now not able to read. All right, so tell us about this. You want to talk about this? Since somebody's brought it up.
About what?
This, can you see this comment?
Which comment?
This is one of the last ones. Let me see. Sorry. The Shahbaz.
Oh, I think Shahbaz is just paying respects. That's it. I don't think there's a question there. Thank you, Shahbaz.
Oh, okay. He was just saying, okay. I thought there was something more he was asking you.
Okay, I think
Okay, sorry,
we,
I thought he was asking
yeah,
more. They were saying more about. Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So, all right. So there aren't any more questions. We just joined that. Nobody. Okay. Yeah, these were all of our questions. Okay,
Yeah,
one
I
more
mean, we can
question.
talk
Sorry. No,
we can talk a lot about it, but
if we keep going, we'll keep going. So there was somebody who was asking what are the most ignored aspects of this document.
वेल आप जब डॉक्यूमेंट को आगे करते हैं तो वो कट हुए होते हैं दैट इज द मोस्ट आई वुड से इग्नोर्ड deliberately cut out aspects of the Nikkahnama. I mean, the right to divorce, delegated right to divorce for a woman, the document preparation कि अगर आपको आपने अपने कोई rules और regulations रखे हैं कि okay, I will do the house chores and you will do do something else in the house or something like that, something which looks like a prenuptial agreement. तो उसको भी लोग इग्नोर करते हैं. आई थिंक दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड गिव्स यू द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू सिक्योर योरसेल्फ इन द बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे. एंड compensation, मेंटेनेंस, उसका भी प्रोविजन को इग्नोर करते हैं. एंड द फैक्ट कि आपके अगर एक मर्द की दूसरी शादी हुई हुई है कि नहीं हुई हुई और इसने वो डिक्लेयर किया है कि नहीं किया. So yeah, these are some of the most important and deliberately ignored aspects of Nikkahnama, but I still feel every single thing is important in this. Even आपका residence, आपका नाम, आप जहाँ पे रहते हो, because in some of the divorce proceedings हम जब केस फाइल करते हैं तो एड्रेस आप देख रहे होते हैं कि आपने जो है वो आप कहाँ पे रहती हैं, उस हिसाब से आपकी jurisdiction decide होती है. So I think that is also very important. Like some of the women, they've sent me their documents and they're saying कि खुला के केस के अंदर जो मैंने एड्रेस लिखा है that is different from the address that's registered with the Union Council that was in the Nikkah register. So there are like some of the complications here and there, but always fill the document having a foresight of sorts. ठीक है कि अच्छा how will this play out? I mean as a lawyer, this is what I do in just generally everything I do. But I think it remains a good practice. It's just you're precariously trying to manage your life and control your life in the best you can, and then live it properly. Yeah.
Right. Just do the best you can and just obtain whatever information you can from the best sources. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we took so much of your time, but we're glad we got to do this because this is we could go on and talk about this for
yeah. I will just
hours.
conclude by saying that women and men, both of you should read the document properly. And I know कि आप हमारे parents से खानदान वाले इस चीज को oppose करते हैं, but I think ऐसी कोई भी चीज नहीं है जो अगर आप मोहब्बत या शफकत से बात करें, explain करें, then they would not understand. But I would still say put up a good fight for advocating for yourself to be able to secure your rights that are provided by the law and the Sharia itself. That is one thing. The second thing is to know more about nikahnamas and marriage rights. There are two 2-3 projects that I would say, and Mahvish, आप भी देखिएगा. There's an organization called Musavi, and you can find it on Instagram. They have a portfolio of Center for Human Rights. उन्होंने अभी recently marriage rights पे बहुत ज़्यादा काम किया है, and उन्होंने निकाहनामा की एक provision को decode किया है, उसके बारे में और ज़्यादा जो है explanation दी है. So I think कि वो भी एक resource है जिस पे आप जा सकते हैं और आप उसके बारे में और जानकारी हासिल कर सकते हैं about women's marriage rights. तो वो बहुत अच्छा resource है that women should all definitely go and watch and see.
Well, you're welcome to put down the link, or we can also, on our page, so that on FemmeRung's page, so that our audience can also take advantage of that. And we will put copies of the Nikkahnama, we'll attach them and we'll link them on the stories. And we'll definitely have you back someday to do this again. Well, more topics and all the projects that you have mentioned here. We will put up links and connect FemmeRung to those projects so people can see what you're up to, and we will help you out in any way that we can, because we've just got connected, and we'll keep in touch. And good luck to you. Thank you so much for being here, and we will be saying something.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me.
Right. Yeah, this was great. And everybody, everywhere, good night, good morning, good afternoon, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Thank you.